Okay, Anish, that should be good for you now. Let me know, okay? So, there. You should be all good to go. Okay, so Amra says that Berlin from World War II to the collapse of the Soviet Union. So Amra, to be more precise, it would be the end of the World War II, end of World War II to collapse of the Soviet Union, right? What do we call that period? There's a simpler way. Yeah, very good, Amu. So Amu says, I think it's the Cold War era. Very nice. Yeah, end of World War II to collapse of the Soviet Union. Very nice. Yeah, and we also call that the Cold War, right? It's the Cold War period. Absolutely. So what was happening during this time? Why was this period interesting, or what were the kind of interesting parts of this period, right? So why was this Cold War happening? Can anybody tell me that? So a little bit of history. And by the way, for those of you that might be thinking, oh, I'm so bored, why are we talking about this? Well, let me tell you, a lot of what's going on in world news right now with Russia, Ukraine, NATO, US, and so on, it's actually directly still related to what happened during this time. So you might learn something interesting about understanding the current tensions in world affairs. So why was this, and by the way, just so everybody knows, we did write this text way before the Russia-Ukraine conflict. So we were first, we wrote this first. Yeah, so Amu says political rivalry between the US and USSR, right? The United Soviet Socialist Republic and United States of America. All right, you should know those abbreviations. Why was that conflict going on? So, why was that happening? Everybody should know this. This is some pretty important, relatively recent world history. So it's still within, you know, the time of our parents and grandparents, and in fact, even a part of my early childhood. There we go, Amu. I have a feeling you've been reading your history books. Good for you, Amu. Big thumbs up. I don't know if it's, well, fear of communism, Amu, if you're in the US, but it's basically the conflict or competition between communism and capitalism, right? So differences in ideologies of social systems, capitalism versus communism, right? So that was a big part of it, and of course the emergence of nuclear weapons really made that a lot more intense, right? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so when you read the title here, all right? So you read this title, Berlin from, geez, I messed it today. All right, let's try that one more time. So when you read this title, Berlin from 1945 to 1990, you should have those come to mind, okay? If you're sitting in the academic IELTS exam and you think nothing of this 45-year period, so you're just kind of like, okay, whatever, it's 45 years of Berlin, and you don't actually take a moment to think about why it's specifically these 45 years and what was happening in those 45 years. And, you know, I think most people should have an idea. then it's going to be, the reading's going to be slower. It's going to be less clear. All right, so you definitely want to take that time to understand that. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody, okay? All right, so how about I make myself a little bit bigger? There. I think I was a little bit too tiny. What do you guys think? Was I a little bit too tiny there that time? Should I be a little bit bigger, a little bit larger, like that? Yeah? Cover up a little bit of the text. If I'm too big, let me know. Okay, so you should think about these, right? So 1945, World War II has ended. October, I believe, was when it finally ended. And then after World War II ended, of course, two major systems kind of emerged, especially in the West, but also in other parts of the world, like China, right? As kind of key political systems. One is capitalism, the other is communism, and then, of course, there was competition for these to become the dominant systems in the world. And Berlin, which of course is the capital of Germany, was in some sense the epicenter of this, right? Berlin, as many of you know, was divided. How was Berlin divided? What was the actual object or structure? Let's see how many of you really paid attention to high school history class. So what was the actual structure that divided Berlin? Divided. Sheesh. Divided Berlin. Okay. So what was that? What was it called? It's nothing too fancy. I don't think they overthought it when they came up with the name. They really just called it what it was, right? And it was built by the Germans, Russians. Yeah, absolutely, Amra. The Berlin Wall. Okay, good. Well, not good, but that's what happened. All right, so let's take a look at the questions. Okay. All right, here we go. First set of questions. This is reading passage 2, in fact, in this case, and it has 7 paragraphs, A to G. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, there's G, right? Okay, so A to G, and you have to figure out for these questions 14 to 20, so we've got 7 questions, which paragraph the information is coming from. You cannot skim or scan for this again because it's way too slow to skim read or to scan for these, all right? So you have to really read the passage. It's the only way, okay? So this kind of a question should remind you, all right, that you need to read the passage. This type of question is very difficult to skim read for, and it's very slow. Okay, because the information is scattered and paraphrased. Okay, scattered means it's all over the place. Like maybe number 14 is coming from the end of the passage. Number 15 is coming from the middle. Number 16 is coming from the beginning. You have no idea, right? It doesn't follow the order of the passage. So it's virtually impossible to do this with skimming and scanning. Plus, they don't even use the same words that they use in the passage. So you have to like find the paraphrasing. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack when the needle is actually hidden inside of a pen, if you get what I'm saying. So it really doesn't make sense to skim read for these, okay? This question kind of reminds you of that, right? Hi, Kyber. I'm doing fantastic. I hope you're having a great day too, okay? I had a great game of hockey yesterday. Scored a goal. Very Canadian of me. but it's true. Okay. All right. And then we have these true, false, not given questions. True, false, not given questions, you don't want to read them before the passage. There's no point. Again, another type of question that's basically impossible to skim read for. Why? Well, easy argument. If the statement is not given, how do you skim read for it? You skim read the whole passage to realize that it's not given, then what have you done? You've read the passage, right? So might as well read, right? Okay. All right. And that's it. And then we got reading passage 3. So, okay, we've got 2 different types of questions here. It's good. Yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, let's read, everybody. Let's read, members. So read with me and let's read from the title. So read and read aloud. Students, how many of you, members, this is a question for you. How many of you read aloud in English each day? So read and read aloud so you can hear yourself. Okay, it's very important. You should do this daily. All right, and over in our general English help channel, I can see that Tutul is saying, I got 7 in my speaking. Your videos helped me a lot, Tutul. I'm super happy that you got 7. Congratulations, good job, good for you. All right. Thanks for coming back and sharing that. Okay, so you should do this daily. Amu says me. Nicely done, Amu. Studying history and reading aloud daily. Maybe, Amu, you're doing both. You're reading history aloud every day. That's kind of fun. Yeah, sure, why not? Great way to improve knowledge and ability. Amra says approximately 4 to 5 times a day. Good for you, Amra. Good for you, right? Practice what you preach. I'm going to read aloud right now, and we're going to do this together. Let's do it. Okay, so Berlin from 1945 to 1990. Here we go, everyone. Read with me. After World War II, Germany became 2 countries. The western portion, controlled by 3 of the Allied powers, Britain, France, United States, named the Federal Republic of Germany, or more commonly West Germany, and the eastern portion, controlled by the final Allied power, the Soviet Union, named the German Democratic Republic, but more commonly known as East Germany. The current German capital of Berlin, then located entirely in East Germany, was similarly divided between the Western powers and the Soviets. Amrit, thank you for that super chat donation. You are lovely. So visualize this, right? Hopefully when you read this paragraph with me, you saw that we have Germany, okay? So this is here, Germany. Okay, and inside Germany, you have Berlin. Okay, now Berlin is also divided in 2. So hopefully you saw what I saw, and it should have been clear because it's clearly described. So you've got a division of West Germany, okay, and you've got East Germany. Berlin is completely on the eastern side, but it's also divided into West and East. Okay? So even though it's completely on the Soviet side, so this is the US side here, USA, France, Britain, right? Okay? And then this is the USSR. And Berlin, the capital here, is simply or similarly also divided, right? Okay, does everybody see that? So it's very important. The introductory paragraph is extremely important that you understand it. The 2 most important paragraphs to understand for high marks in your IELTS for reading is the introduction and the conclusion. In fact, so much so that if you do not understand the introductory paragraph clearly, I recommend rereading it, okay? It's better to just rush through one of the body paragraphs and understand the introduction clearly than to not understand the introduction. This is a really important point, everybody. Are you clear on what I just said? So it is very important that you clearly understand the introductory paragraph. Read it a bit slower and perhaps reread it. If it is not clear. Okay, think about it this way. It's like missing the introduction of a movie, right? You know, if you miss the start of the movie, if you miss the first 5 minutes of a movie, the movie really doesn't make sense. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? So like if you miss any part of the movie, I think the worst part to miss in a movie is like the first 5-10 minutes, because then it's really hard to figure out what's happening. It takes quite a bit of time before you're like, oh, okay, that's what's happening. It's the same thing in reading, okay? The reading is a story. It's like a movie in this sense. So if you don't get the introduction, read it again, right? Hopefully everybody got that map that I drew up there. Me and Amu are like, yeah, okay, I got it, all right? Right. So you really need to make sure you understand it, because you're going to see that in the rest of this passage that it really is important, the introduction. Yeah. Okay, so Kyber says, yes, the start of the story is very important. Got it. Okay, so let's keep reading, everybody. Here we go with paragraph B, 3, 2, 1. World War II ended with the capture of Germany by the Allied powers. The natural question was, who would take control of the newly captured territory? The four most powerful Allied countries, Britain, the United States, France, and the Soviet Union, came to an agreement at the Potsdam Conference in May 1945. They divided the country roughly evenly in 4 parts. The British would control the northwest, the French would control the southwest, the Americans would control the southeast, and the Soviets would control the northwest. Berlin was also partitioned, the French in the northwest, the British in the west, the Americans in the southwest, and the Soviets in the east. These divisions were never meant to be maintained in the long term, but they were. The division of Berlin became representative of the division of the world, divided between 2 superpowers, West and East, the US in the West and the USSR in the East. Very visual. Make sure you're visualizing all of this. Let's keep going. Once allies, the Soviets and the Western countries could not agree on a reparations agreement, a treaty which would punish the Germans through economic means. The Western countries wanted a relatively open German economy. That is, they wanted Germany to remain self-sufficient. The Soviets, on the other hand, wanted to punish the Germans for the millions of Soviet deaths suffered during the war. But such punitive measures are often cited as a key cause of the Second World War, as German reparations were humiliating and debilitating to the German economy and the German people. This resulted in hardship, poverty, violence, and ultimately the rise of Hitler. The Western nations did not want to see a repeat of such a humiliation. Because of this disagreement, negotiations between the two sides collapsed, and ultimately diplomatic relations as well. The Western countries, in a response to the collapse in relations, merged their zones at a national level in 1947. In their combined zone, they advocated the revival of the German economy so that the German people were not completely reliant on financial aid. The Soviets feared this union because it gave the collective more power than the Soviets had in the region. The tipping point for the Soviets was the introduction of a new currency in the Western zones. A day after this took place, the USSR imposed the Berlin blockade, the first major international crisis of what came to be known as the Cold War. In response to the Confederation of Western Sectors, the Soviets blocked all rail, road, and marine access to the Western-controlled sections of Berlin. With the stroke of a pen, Berliners, 2.5 million of them, had no access to their basic needs of food, electricity, and medicine. The Western response to this Soviet provocation was to institute what came to be known as the Berlin Airlift, a year-long effort that involved 700 aircraft to deliver supplies to the cut-off sections of Berlin. During this time, 270,000 flights delivered approximately 2.3 million tons of supplies to the city. Without this effort, Berliners would have starved. The introduction of the new currency and the resulting Berlin blockade and airlift were key causes of the hardening of relations between the Soviets and the West. Over the next decade, relations between the two sides deteriorated to the point that in 1961, the Berlin Wall was erected by the East Germans and Soviets between the two sections of the city, separating the Soviet-controlled East Germany section from the Western-controlled West German sections. Just a sec, everyone. I'll be back. There was an alarm going off. I had to stop there. It's distracting. All right. The wall would become a powerful symbol for the conflict between capitalism and communism and between the United States and the USSR. The German people, once adversaries who drew the Soviets and Americans into common alliance, were now pawns in a dangerous game that was being played across the globe. The partition of Berlin lasted until 1989. Revolutions against communism in other Eastern European countries earlier that year brought about change in East Germany as well. The East German people revolted, and after weeks of protest, the East German government relented and opened up the border on 9th November 1989. Over the coming weeks and months, people gleefully chipped away at the wall. Demolition of the wall took 17 months to complete. German unification officially took place on 3rd October 1990. What was once an ideological battleground between East and West would eventually become what we know Berlin as today, a singular cosmopolitan city of people working towards mutual prosperity. All right, so we've got that history moving through these 7 paragraphs from 1945 to 1990. Very visual. So hopefully you were visualizing, and this should give you a good idea of where a lot of this information is located. Now, let's answer these questions together. We'll do a bit of reading together and answer these questions together, and I'll show you how to do this effectively. Okay, everyone? So here we go. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to reach out to some of our members. So get ready, Amu, Khyber, Mien, Amrit, Sanjay, and let's go to our website here, aehelp.com. It's this blue one here. So let's go here. Let's go to our My Student account. You can create a My Student account by joining our premium package or trying the demo for free. Little green button that's just right there. Okay, so once you do that, you go to your My Student account, and then in your My Student account, you have a lot of goodies. Among those goodies, you will find this student. Oh, there it is. This one, student partner speaking. Underneath it, you have speaking interview practice. You can book a speaking interview practice session with me there. Student partner speaking, that's where we're going right now. We're going to click on that. It will open up a brand new page, and we have Carolina, Harmon, and Amu in here already, which is fantastic. Hopefully we'll get a few more of you in here as well. Okay, Carolina's giving some instructions there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to answer these questions now, and I'll show you how. I'll show you what we're going to do. Let me see if Amrit, I'm going to go from the bottom here, so let me see if Amrit is there, and we'll do the first couple of questions with Amrit. Okay, Amrit, are you ready? I even wrote your name in there. Okay, all right, here we go. So this will make it a little bit more fun, get to hear each other's voices and such. Okay. Are you ready, Amrit? Can you help me to answer a couple of matching information to paragraphs? All right, I can see that Amrit's ready. Yes. All right, cool. Here we go. I'll turn up my volume a little bit. Hi, Amrit. I am doing great. How is your weekend? Going very well. You're very Canadian. Canadians say going very good, but other English speakers say going very well. So it's true. Canadians always misuse the words good as an adverb. So. All right, Miyen says, I'm not hearing anything from Amrit. Let me try to fix that. Amrit, can you say a big hello to everybody? Just say hello, everybody. All right, hopefully everybody heard that because they told me that they're not able to hear your voice. Yeah, no, I just turned you on. Yeah, there's a special function to turn you on, but I think they can hear you now. So they heard that. Hello, everybody. Okay, Amrit, you are with me now. It's not a one-sided conversation. All right, Amrit. So let's jump back to the reading here. Okay, so this is matching paragraphs. Now, a couple of things to know about this. So these usually never have the exact same words as the passage. That would be too easy, right? Then it's just matching, like go fish. So you kind of have to know what's going on. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, Amrit, is just read number 14 for me nice and loud here. This one. Okay, so
Berlin,
just number 14, Amrit. Just number 14. I'm just fixing the audio for the general IELTS as well for those guys over there in General English Help. Yeah, so Amrit, just 14, nice and loud. Read it one more time. Okay, thanks for reading the question, by the way. That is important. But I just want you to read number 14, a treaty, from there.
okay, sir. A treaty which allocated control of German territory to 4 countries.
Okay, this word here, just repeat after me. Allotted.
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 Okay, allotted means like gave. It's a fancy way to say gave control. So a treaty which gave control of German territory to 4 countries. Okay, which paragraph did this come from?
I think it's come from C or D.
Okay, good for you. So according to Amrit, the answer here is C or D. Why did you say C or D?
Actually, I can't remember, but I think this is come from. It's talking about 4 different countries.
Well, and you remember that this is happening somewhere in the middle of the story, right? Somewhere kind of maybe near the beginning, near the middle of the story, right? Because we're talking about Berlin during this 45-year period, and this situation of giving control to these four countries, USA, France, Britain, and the Soviet Union, that's somewhere after the introduction, right? So it's okay if you don't remember exactly where it is. You want to go back, and we know that we're looking for the four countries, and we know that we're looking for a treaty. A treaty is some kind of an agreement, right? Okay. So let's take a look here. I would say maybe even go back as far as B, okay? So read paragraph B for me here. Amrit? You still there? Am I losing you or losing your connection? Amrit, I think you're having a connection issue on your end. Yeah, I can kind of hear you. Can you hear me okay, Amrit? Amrit, I think you're having a bit of a connection issue, which is okay. I'm going to hang up on you, and then I'll get somebody else to read that paragraph, but you're on the right track, okay?
Yes, I know.
Yeah, you're really choppy, Amrit, so I'll come back to you, okay? All right, so let's hop over to Amu, and then Amrit, check your internet connection meanwhile. Okay, Amu, are you ready to help out? Yeah, Amu's faster than I am. She says yes. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Amu.
Hi, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Great.
Awesome. Any plans for the weekend?
No, not at.
That's kind of good. It's nice not to have plans for the weekend. Just take it
Yeah,
spontaneously.
just planning to sleep.
Yeah, right? As do we all. We need to sleep. Okay, Amu, can you read this paragraph B for me?
Yeah, definitely, sir. World War II ended with the capture of Germany by the Allied powers. The natural question was who would take control of the newly captured territory? The four most powerful Allied countries, Britain, the United States, France, and the Soviet Union, came to an agreement at the Potsdam Conference in May 1945. They divided the country roughly evenly in four parts.
Okay,
The
stop
British
there.
would
Stop
control
there.
the
Stop.
northwest.
Stop.
Yes.
Breaks.
Yes.
Breaks, Amu. Breaks.
Yes.
Breaks. All right.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
All right. That was sorry. That was yeah. I'm just okay.
Yeah,
So,
that's okay.
so once you have found the answer, right? You can just stop, and then
Yeah.
you know that you confidently have found the answer, right? Now,
Yeah.
here we see the answer because in question 14 it says a treaty which allotted control of German territory to four countries. Okay, so we have four countries, and we have the word treaty. Okay, so the way
Yeah.
it works in IELTS is paraphrasing, right? Paraphrasing is the magical word. The word treaty, which word paraphrases the word treaty in paragraph?
Agreement.
That's right. Very nice. Very fast, Amu. You were super fast. Yeah, agreement. You didn't have to think about it. So a treaty is an agreement. An agreement, especially at the national level, is a treaty. What paraphrases four countries?
Four countries. Four parts.
Four parts does. And even more so, the actual countries themselves. They say it right here. Britain, United States, France, Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yes.
the word agreement for treaty is a synonym type paraphrasing, right? So this is a synonym.
Yeah.
And when we
Yes.
have something like Britain, United States, France, Soviet Union, what type of paraphrasing is that? There's different kinds
I'm
of
not getting you.
paraphrasing. So paraphrasing means to say the same information in a different way, right? And
Yeah.
one way to do that is with synonyms. Like we can say big, huge, right? Or in this case, we can say agreement and treaty. Another type of paraphrasing is when we say something like for countries.
Another.
It's called descriptive paraphrasing. You basically describe it, right? So for countries,
Okay.
you
Okay.
describe it by saying. So IELTS uses all of these different techniques of paraphrasing to match the questions with the answers. Okay, so that's what's kind of important here. All right, Amu, let's hop over to the next question, question 15, and read this one for me. Question 15.
A barrier is built between the two German nations.
Good. What is that barrier?
It is there is some issue which had made the German into two states.
Okay, Germany into two states, but what's the barrier? So paraphrase that
Wall.
barrier.
Wall.
That's right. Yeah. A barrier.
Paraphrasing.
Yeah, exactly. It's a wall. It's the wall, right? The Berlin Wall.
Yeah.
So as long as you know the word barrier is something that blocks your path, right? Then you can figure out that, okay, what they're talking about here is the construction of the Berlin Wall. So you know the paraphrasing that you're looking for. I see Hadil in General English chat there said, it's the wall. Okay, so now we know what we're looking for, right? And which paragraph has this answer, the Berlin Wall is built?
The D.
Okay, good for you. So you're
D.
okay. So you're very confident, which is good. We definitely know that the Berlin Wall or the construction of the Berlin Wall came a little bit later in the passage, so somewhere in the late middle of the passage, right? Because first they had to give us all the background information of why that wall was built. So somewhere in around the middle, they talk about building the wall, and then near the end, they talk about destroying the wall, right? So let's take a look at D. Okay, go ahead and read paragraph D for me here.
The tipping point for the Soviets was the introduction of the new currency in the Western zones. A day after this took place, the USSR imposed the Berlin blockade, the first major international crisis of what came to be known as the Cold War. In response to the Confederation of Western Sectors, the Soviets blocked all rail, road, and marine access to the western control sections of Berlin. With the stroke of a pen, Berliners, 2.5 million of them, had no access to their basic needs of food, electricity, and medicine.
So is it paragraph D? No, right? Because we didn't see anything about the wall. So when you have an idea, Amu, like, okay, this is the Berlin Wall, you have to look for the Berlin Wall, right? Now, in the real IELTS exam, you wouldn't need to reread word by word the whole paragraph. Okay, it's unnecessary. I'm just doing this to show a point here. What you're doing now is what's called intelligent skimming or scanning. So now you can intelligently...
It's in the
Okay. Amu, slow down. You're too fast. No, but that's good. Amu, that's good. So in the real IELTS, that's what you want to be. You want to be fast like what you just did, right? But yeah, so you're doing what's called intelligent skimming and scanning. You know that the barrier is the wall. You're looking for the wall. So you're skimming and scanning and you realize, okay, I'm looking for wall. Wall's a really easy word to look for because it's W-A-L-L. That double L makes it easy to look for. We don't see it anywhere there. And then we keep going and and then here we see Berlin Wall, right? Boom, there it is.
Yes.
Okay, it pops up right there. And it's even capitalized, and it's a name, right? Because, of course, Berlin Wall is a special type of wall, so they're going to have a big B and a big W there as well, which makes it even easier to kind of find, right? So you put
Yeah.
in F, and then you move on. Okay, so let me just give the correct answers here. So B for 14, and then F for 15, and you're good to go. And you know, we're doing this together, so it seems kind of slow, but I want everybody who's watching to realize that Amu just answered it like that at way faster than I was explaining. You saw, okay, it's an F, right? So once you know what you're doing, when you read the passage, Amu, in 8 to 10 minutes, and then you know, okay, I'm paraphrasing here, I'm looking for the Berlin Wall, you can find these answers very fast. If you read the passage in 8 to 10 minutes, then you have 10 minutes for the questions, which means that you have almost like a minute, well, let's say like 45 seconds for each question. I guarantee you that you'll find this answer in way less time than 45 seconds with what you were just doing, okay? All right.
Yes.
So that's how it works. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Got you.
Okay, Amu, do you have any questions about the reading or this type of question?
No, actually, this true false yes or no only I have some confusion, sir. I always keep false for true and true for not given.
So you keep giving false for true and true for not given. All right, well, we'll hopefully get to some of those today, Amu, and then we'll have some more clarity, okay? So I don't want to jump to those questions just yet.
Yes, sir.
But hopefully we'll shed some more light on those types of questions in a few minutes, okay? All right, Amu, thank you so much for volunteering for these 2 questions. I'll grab somebody else for the next 2, okay?
Thank you, sir. Have a nice weekend.
Okay, bye, Amu. All right, so that was Amu. Let's see, who else? Oh, we have 2 Amrits in here now. Yeah, let's go back to Amrit. I want to give him a chance again. Okay, are you ready? Did you fix your internet? Other members, I'm also looking for you. So Sanjay, Yadav, Khyber, Pooja, get in there. Me, I know you have a good connection, so get in there if you can. Okay, are you ready? In the meantime, Amrit, did you fix your internet? Okay, give you another shot there. All right, and then if I don't see other members hopping in, I'm going to open it up to some of our other viewers as well, like Harman. So Harman, hang in there. All right, good job, Amu. Some thumbs up from Amra and Pooja, which is nice. Okay, not getting a response from Amrit, so I'm guessing the connection might still have some issues. Harman, let's see. Hello, back to you. Are you ready to help me with some questions? Okay, oh, there's me. Me's jumping in there now. Good, Me. You're coming up next. Okay, Aziza, I see you as well. So we've got people in there just looking for some voices to help me out here with these questions. Okay. Harman, I'm from Canada. I wonder if Harman's watching the class. Okay, can you help us with some reading questions? Okay, all right, sounds good. Let's reach out to Harman. Kind of a surprise caller of the day, why not? If we can make a connection. I think maybe Harman got a bit freaked out. All right, let's switch to Me. Okay, Me. Hi, Me. Can you help solve some questions? And I'll keep giving you some more strategies, everybody, as you're watching this, okay? All right, Me says, I'm ready. Good, Me. Hi, Me. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing superb. Thank you for asking. All right. Has summer kind of started in Vietnam? Is the weather getting warmer,
Yes.
nicer?
Yeah, it's pretty hot. It's really hot.
Hot and humid, right? Is it very humid
Yeah.
as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And it's
humid.
raining.
And it's raining,
Rains
yeah.
out. Yeah.
Is it the rainy season right now? Like, do you have monsoons in that?
Yes. Yes.
That's
It's
fun.
the rainy season.
Yeah, I like those heavy rains. I know some people don't, but I do.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. So let's jump back to our questions. Okay, so number 16, let's do one more of these matching paragraphs here. Number 16, can you read that for me, please?
Berliners are cut off from essential goods and services.
Okay, where do you think that's coming from? In
Uh, yeah, as I remember, it's near the end. Maybe E. Maybe E.
Okay, tell me a little bit about it. So, this Berliners are cut off from essential goods and services. This was very visual for me in the passage. What happened in this situation? Can you tell me a little bit of what you remember?
As I remember, Soviet they isolated Poland, the parts of Poland,
Yeah, you're right, Meme. So the
and
Soviets.
the others like America, French, and Britain, like they gave the food and services to this part to help them not being starved.
Yeah. Absolutely. You're right. You're definitely giving me the correct information. So the Soviets, they isolated Western Berlin. They cut them off, right? Completely from
Yeah.
supplies. So here's a really important part. How did the Americans and British and French help the Western Berliners? What did they do to help them? How did they get them the supplies?
Actually, I don't remember.
Really? That was like,
Yes.
I thought that was the most interesting part of the whole story. That was like, oh wow, they did that. Maybe, yeah. So Amrit is saying in the chat that they got cut off from medical supplies and so on. Amu is giving you the answer to the question I just asked you of how did they help them?
Airlift.
Yeah,
Airlift.
airlift, which means that they were flying airplanes, right? Lots and lots of airplanes over Western Germany and dropping supplies. So what you should have seen in that part of this information or passage is you should have seen all of these thousands of airplanes or hundreds of airplanes flying over Western Berlin and then basically parachuting, like dropping parachutes of supplies. And you didn't see that?
Actually, because I don't understand the word airlift.
Okay, there were more words in there, not just the word airlift. So it's kind of an excuse, me. Okay, and I would say that happened earlier in the passage because it happened before the Berlin Wall was built. So if the Berlin Wall was built in paragraph F, according to question 15, then the cutting off of Western Berlin and this airlift dropping all of these supplies happened before the Berlin Wall, right? So probably before paragraph F. So let's kind of look for that information, okay? A little bit before. Okay. So paragraph F is where the Berlin Wall happened. So a good place to start looking is paragraph E. Look for paragraph E.
I see the word Berlin Airlift. Cut off.
Okay, you're too fast. You're just like a moo, too fast. But no, in the real IELTS, that's good. That's good that you're really fast. But here, just read the paragraph for me, just for practice.
Okay, the Western response to this Soviet provocation was to institute what came to be known as the Berlin Airlift, a year-long effort that involved 700 aircraft to deliver supplies to the cut-off sections of Berlin. During this time, 270,000 flights delivered approximately 2.3 million tons of supplies to the city. Without this effort, Berliners would have starved.
Okay, good, me. So obviously our answer here is going to be E, right? It's very,
E.
very clear. Now, me, when you're doing the reading and you're doing reading, really visualize, right? Like you said, oh, it's because I didn't know the word airlift. but if we look at this paragraph, we see the word flights, okay? We also see the word aircraft right there as well. So I have an idea that when you read this paragraph, you kind of know what's going on here. Am I wrong?
No, I know what's going on, which is just I don't remember.
And that's the truth, right? So, and it's very common, me. I mean, that's one of the complaints that a lot of people have with IELTS is I read the passage and I don't remember what I'm reading. There's a way around that meme. There's a trick that you can do to help you so that that doesn't happen in the real exam where you forget a paragraph like that. That trick is to put yourself into the information. So imagine yourself that you've just traveled back in time and you're a pilot and you're actually flying this airplane over Berlin and you're dropping like a huge wooden box filled with rice and apples or something, and you're dropping it into Western Berlin, and you're listening to the propellers of the plane spinning, and you're all excited to help these people who are cut off from all of this precious supplies, right? And once you put yourself into the situation, once you become that pilot that's doing the airlift, it's much easier to remember that was happening in the passage. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Right?
got it.
Okay. So next time, that's what you want to do. It takes more energy, it takes more attention, but hey, on the IELTS, it's an exam, why not, right? You got to give it that extra effort. So, okay, me, stay with me a little bit longer. So this one was paragraph E.
E.
Yeah, and you mark E and then you move on, okay? And for everybody who's watching, once you start to give the correct answers to these questions, it actually becomes faster and faster to answer each of the next questions, because if you answer question 15 correctly and you give F, the Berlin Wall, then many of you will realize that, okay, Berliners being cut off by the Soviets happens before the Berlin Wall, logically, and so it's paragraph E or D, and then it's faster to find that information. Okay, I'm going to leave number 17 to 20 for homework for everybody, and we're going to jump now to the true, false, not given questions. Have you learned from me how to answer these true, false, not given questions correctly?
We have to answer the question. The first question is that is it important to find out it is given or not given?
Exactly, yeah, it's a two-step process, right? So step number one, you need to figure out if the information is given or not given, because if it's not given, you just mark NG and then you move on. If it's given, then you have to figure out whether it's true or false, right? It makes sense to do it that way. It's an if-then type of logic, absolutely. And you think about, what is this passage about? What is all this information? And then you can kind of figure out, like, is it important in 600-700 words, right? So let's do this. Okay, me, read 21 for me, please.
Pre-World War II, Germany was divided into two separate nations after the war.
Okay, so ask the question.
Is it important? And I think it's no.
Okay, careful. So when you think about this, is it important question, you have to really take a second, okay? Remember, if you read the passage in 8 to 10 minutes and you have 10 to 12 minutes, then you have about 45 seconds on average for each of these questions. So careful not to be too quick answering the question of importance, right? Make sure that you're very clear on what that statement is saying. So pre-World War II Germany, what does that mean, pre-World War II Germany?
The country Germany before the World War II.
Exactly. Okay, so take that step to think about that. Okay, so the country Germany before World War II was, what's another way to say divided?
Cut off. Oh no. Separated.
Separated. Yep, separated.
Separated.
into two different nations, two different countries after the war. After which war?
The World War II.
After World War II, right? So you kind of paraphrase the question in your mind as you're going through it, and that gives you more clarity of what that statement is or what that question is, so that you can much more accurately answer whether it's important or not. So for this passage, okay, Berlin, after 1945, right? After 1945 means after World War II, right? So
Yes.
it was, Germany was separated into two countries. Is that important for this passage?
It's important.
Oh, yeah, very important, right?
Yes.
Okay, now you see it. Why do you see it? Because you paraphrased it, right? Or we paraphrased it together. Okay,
Yes.
so now you realize it's very important. Now what's the next question, me?
Is it true or false?
Mm-hmm. What's your
I
answer?
think it is two.
Why?
Because it was separated into two parts. One part is for Soviet nation, and one part for the three other countries.
Yeah, simply put, what were those two nations that it got separated into?
I think it's just separated into two parts, not two nations.
Yeah, no, two nations. Oh, two nations that even had different currencies, me. So that even the passage even gave you two different names to call them two nations for each one. But they gave you kind of the complicated version of their name, and then they gave you a simple version of the name of each nation. What were the names of these nations? What was the I'm gonna be a little bit tricky here, me. What was the left side of Germany called? If you're looking at a map. It's kind of like, think about like Korea. It's a similar concept as what's happening in Korea today, but not north and south. In Germany, it was
West and East.
exactly, right? So Korea right now is two countries, right? There's North Korea, there's South Korea, right? Well, for 1945 to 1990, that in fact were the two nations of Germany. It was West Germany and East Germany, right? So definitely the answer here is true, okay? So be careful, don't rush. Especially that first question, that is it important? You have to take a second for that one. Don't be too quick to answer that question, okay? Really think it through. What was the trick that we used? Paraphrasing, right? We paraphrased it, right? So pre-World War II Germany, you said, okay, Germany that was before World War II was divided, was separated into two countries after the war. Yes, very important, you realize. Okay, me, I was pushing you. You were doing a great job. That's how you want to do it, okay? So when you're in your IELTS exam, me, you have to have me inside of your head saying all of this, okay?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, me, thank you so much for your help. Let's see if we can find somebody else for a couple more of these true, false, not given questions. Thanks a lot, me. Have an awesome weekend.
Okay, goodbye, sir.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, that was me doing a good job helping me out. All right, let's see if we have somebody else. Oh, did lovely Yadav just join us, and Amra as well? Lovely. What a lovely handle. Lovely. Thank you for the thumbs up, everybody. So, Lovely, are you ready? Okay. Let's see if we can get Yadav on the line here. And I'm looking at the chat too. Everybody's doing a great job there. So, yeah, Amu is actually giving like the very technical names that they gave those countries. The Federal Republic of Germany. Yeah. Yeah, there were a lot of different names. They really didn't know what to call those countries clearly, so they gave them a few different names during that time. But West and East were, I think, the simplest, and those are what kind of stuck. All right. Lovely. I'm just kind of being pushy out there with you. Let's see. Amra. Lovely. If you hear me, just respond back to me. I'm going to reach out to Amra as well. So, Amra, can you help me with a true, false, not given question? Okay. Let's see. think maybe Amrit has come back with a newer connection. I know not everybody has a great connection, so it's you gotta have a good Wi-Fi or good LAN connection for this interface to work well. Okay, Amrit, yeah, sure, let's try. Oh, Amra. Okay, well, Amrit, just a sec. Amra is yes, but I'm not sure if my microphone. Well, let's try it, Amra. Let's try it. Amra's not sure about the microphone, but we'll see. I see, Yadav, you're not able to connect. And Amra's not sure about the microphone. Amra, I actually do hear that you picked up, but yeah, I don't hear your microphone coming through. So I see what you mean. Amra, you should troubleshoot that. So just like what I did yesterday, right, with all that troubleshooting, troubleshoot it. It should work. Like as you can see with me and Amrit and lots of others, the system works quite well. So you want to troubleshoot it, Amra, because I'd love to hear your voice, okay? All right. So try it, come back. Okay. Amrit, I'm just going to call you. Hello, Amrit. I don't hear you either, Amrit. Or no, is that Amra again? Just a sec. Let's see. Okay, I couldn't hear you. Let's try it again. So let's try one more time. Okay, are you ready? Okay, here we go.
Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you, Amrit. How are you doing again?
I think there's some problem with my internet.
Yeah, I could tell it was an internet connectivity issue because you were cutting in and out, which is fine, but I can hear you loud and clear now. So help me out with one of these true, false, not given questions, okay?
Okay, sir.
All right. So this question 21, that was true. Let's look at question 22. Can you read this statement, please? Number 22.
The Potsdam Conference was a chief cause of the Cold War.
Okay. What was the Potsdam Conference?
Actually, sir, I think this is a given, but I can't remember because I'm looking to internet connection and
Amrit, don't rush into it. So same advice as with me. Before you can figure out if it's given or not given, and then figure out if it's true or false, you really need to figure out what you're looking at, right? Like you can't decide if it's given or not given if you're not sure of what the information actually is asking, right? So first we have to make sure we understand the question clearly, okay? So first we have to know what was the Potsdam Conference. So what was the Potsdam Conference? Do you remember what that was? It's okay to say no.
oh no, sir. Actually, I don't remember.
Yeah. Being able to say no or I don't know is a very important skill in IELTS and in life. So Potsdam Conference, that's one of those words that you can easily skim read for because it's a name, right? And as long as you've read the passage, you will be able to figure it out. So Potsdam Conference, that was somewhere near the beginning. It had something to do with that agreement, right? Remember in this question, you're the one that actually did this question, number 14, when we were matching paragraphs. And we looked at this, a treaty which allowed or gave control of German territory to 4 countries. Okay, that was the Potsdam Conference. Remember, we looked at paragraph B, and in paragraph B, it said, an agreement at the Potsdam Conference in 1945. So make sure that you're using other questions to help you figure out answers for later questions, okay? This type of question, the matching information to the paragraphs that we were doing first, is really useful to help you figure out the correct answers for later questions like true, false, not given, or summary completion, okay? So don't forget about that, right? So here we had this Potsdam Conference in 1945 that divided the country roughly evenly into 4 parts, okay?
Yes, sir.
So that's what that Potsdam Conference was. It was basically these 4 countries sitting down and saying, okay, how do we divide Germany after World War II? So now we understand that part. So now we remember, okay, that's what that was, right? Okay, so we know what the Potsdam Conference was. Good. Now we have a much more clarity. Chief cause. What is another way to say chief cause? Amrit, what does that mean? Chief cause. Can you say that in another way for me? Keep it simple.
Like reason or
Yeah, what kind?
problem?
Yeah, it's reason. So reason will paraphrase cause. What about chief? Chief. So what's another way to say chief? Look at the chat. There's Amu and Rashika.
Main reason.
Yeah, the main reason of the Cold War. Okay, good. All right. So now, and Hadil's saying the essential reason, and Anish is saying main as well. So they're giving you some help. Okay, so now we can think about this true, false, not given question again, right? So this Potsdam Conference was the main reason for the Cold War. Is that important to know? Is it important to know what the main reason was for the Cold War?
Yes.
Okay, so let's theoretically say that the answer here is yes. Okay, it's important to know. Is it possible to know the main reason of the Cold War?
I think yes.
You're very ambitious, Amrit. You're smarter than all of the historians out there because they're still arguing about that. They don't know what the main reason was for the Cold War. Okay, so the reason could be because of a difference between capitalism and communism, or the Potsdam Conference. So we don't know what the main reason is for the Cold War. To this day, people don't really know what the main reason was for the Cold War. So it's not really there, okay? This kind of a statement, if you really think about it, it's difficult to answer. So I don't really like using this word, but it's basically impossible to know what the main reason was. And too much detail for this passage. So what do you think the correct answer is then?
Not given, sir.
Yeah, it's not given. Okay, so here, again, same technique as what I was showing me, that you really have to be very clear on what the statement is before you decide whether it's given or not given. And once you're clear, Amrit, on what that statement is, you have to think critically, especially in the academic IELTS. Academic IELTS is not just a test of English, it's a test of your thinking. So here, it's testing whether or not you realize that understanding the main reason for why the Cold War happened is almost impossible to say. So the author is not going to write about it, and it's too much detail for this passage. Okay?
Okay, sir. I understand.
Now, also, Amrit, even if you don't take it that far, if you're like, well, all right, Adrian, you know this, but how am I supposed to know this? I'm in India. I don't know as much about, European 20th century history as you do. That's fine, right? You still have to think, okay, did I read the author saying something like the number one reason for the Cold War or the main reason the Cold War happened? And I don't remember anything like that. And I'm sure you don't either, because it didn't really say that anywhere, right? Like, it didn't emphasize that the biggest reason the Cold War happened was, right? So if you don't remember that kind of information, then you shouldn't just say yes because you feel that it should be correct. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Right? Like just because you feel something should be there doesn't mean it's necessarily there. So you have to be really careful with that feeling in IELTS where you're like, oh, I feel like they should tell me this. Well, yeah, but you know, it's feeling that they should and what they actually do is different, right?
And even in India, I never read this like information.
Yeah, that exactly. And you know, the IELTS passages can be about South America. If you're lucky, they could be about Asia or India. They could be about Africa. They could be about Europe. They mix it up. So you really have to just apply critical thinking all the way through. Okay, Amrit? Lots of critical thinking. All right, Amrit, thank you so much for helping me. I hope to see you in the next class that's coming up in about 50 minutes, just 40 minutes, okay?
Okay, sir.
All right.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're very welcome. Bye, Amrit. All right, so that was Amrit helping me out with the true, false, not given there. So again, students, be really careful with answering questions too quickly. Don't be too quick to answer questions. Keep an eye on the time, right? How much time that you have, okay? Think critically, right? Think about, you know, if I'm the author, would I include this information? Is there a clear answer to this information? Do I remember clearly this information being stated, or am I just going on my feelings? Be careful about that. Okay. All right, everyone. So I will leave questions 23 to 26 for you to complete in a similar way as what I just showed at home, as with questions 17 to 20. Email me your answers. Okay, you can see the questions here. And you can email me your answers, members, and all of our viewers. I encourage you to email your answers to my email address, adrian@aehelp.com, and I will send you back the answer key with a little bit of a surprise for you. Okay, remember to visit our websites, aehelp.com. That's what we were just using to chat with our students. And gieltshelp.com. aehelp.com is for academic IELTS. gieltshelp.com is for general IELTS. Yes, Hadil, you're absolutely right. You can type TF or NG for true, false, not given. If it's yes, no, not given, then it's Y, N, and NG. Pay attention to that. Okay. All right. I will be back in just a little bit, so a little bit more than half an hour, and we will be doing speaking part 2, the cue card, okay? Everybody will be able to join. I should say the subscribers will be able to join in on that. And again, everyone, remember that we have this special class on Sunday coming up on Light Hall. That's going to be a fun class. Make sure to join that class. It's a free class. You know, even if you're not sure, just join. So that you get a notification, a reminder. It's a great platform for live learning. It's real time, no lag, and you can talk with me directly in the class. So Pooja, Amu, Rashika, Amrit, me, Carolina, thank you so much, everybody, for your participation in the class and your support. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from Victoria for now, but I will be back very shortly in about half an hour with speaking part 2 cue card. I should take my headphones off because I'm shouting. And then we'll look at some cue card strategy, and we'll do a similar type of practice with all of our viewers. Bye for now, everyone.